Like,
It
is there
could
truth
be.
behind it, and that's why it hurts?
I mean, I think yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. It could be some truth behind it, but it could be the way it has been delivered. You know what I mean? And the way it's been said. I was having dinner, my girl, her friend's birthday, and it was her son there. She done disrespected this young man in front of me like twice. He called this dude almost dummy or joker in the process of talking about certain scenarios with him. And I'm seeing this is a big dude. He's about my size, you know, tall, very low and timid talking person, very soft, like soft spoken. You look at him like that, and you look like a little bitch. You know what I'm saying? When you talking, you know. And I see his mama, and then I see him, and all of a sudden I just automatically don't like her. She's already breaking his brother down. She's already beating him down with her words. She's thinking it's nothing, but to demean him and make him feel stupid, he might resemble what stupid looks like. You know what I'm saying? And don't nobody need to be talked to like that, especially in front of people. You know what I mean? You're not doing it by yourself. You know what I mean? With this him, no, that's even worse by yourself. But even more in front of people, you're demeaning this boy. You know what I'm saying? You're lowering him down. So it's like, that stuff right there, that's stuff you can't get back. You can't come back. You know what I mean?
Especially
Man,
from your mom. That's really
yeah.
hurtful.
You can't come back from that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Destroying that young man. You know what I mean?
So first, I want to touch on what you said about the young boy. Like, that's wrong, and I definitely understand that that's hurtful when you have a mother who's supposed to be loving you and kind and caring to you, and she doesn't respect you, and now she's being disrespectful. And those things happen when you're, like you said, a kid. That's going to form how that little boy thinks about himself. So I definitely wanted to acknowledge that that's wrong.
And that's
Full
so
stop.
casual. And she didn't.
Yeah,
The way she was did it, she was
she didn't even
like
notice it.
laughing about it. And I wanted to tell her. I swear, but I said, I don't even
Maybe
know
you
this
should have
lady.
said it. Maybe
I
you
said,
should
I
have
don't
said
know this
something.
lady, and it was another weirdo on the other side of it. So I didn't, I don't know. I just kind of
Yeah.
like played it cool, but I did make a point to tell him because it got a point of conversation about certain type of women to date and whatnot, and I just started delivering it. Anything disrespectful, anything that's contrary to who you are and speaking differently towards you, cut it.
Do
Mama,
you think
daddy, your
that
sister, auntie, don't matter.
Do you think that would have been a good time to take that young boy aside and like reaffirm his masculinity because you're there and you see it and you recognize that, like, because like you said, I'm going to say that I'm hoping that the mother didn't do that thinking like, oh, I am mentally damaging my child and going to make it hard for him to grow up and accept his masculinity. I don't think that she thought about it like that. She might have, but
Of
she might not
course,
have. But do you think that
I never do.
kind of like what you're talking about is that if the only way that evil can prevail is when good men sit around and do nothing, do you feel like that could have been an opportunity for you to be like, hey, let me talk to you outside and reaffirm him as a man and let him know like, hey, your mom shouldn't be talking to you like that, stay strong, here's my number, give me a call if you got some, just so that he can have that in which you didn't have, because we can get mad at the mom, right, because she deserves a bunch of shit talking, and but it wouldn't have changed her. She'd have just gotten loud with you. But that's why I say like men need to support men, because in that situation you were the only man there who recognized that and how that was going down, to be able to be like, hey, let me reaffirm him, or let me at least let him know here's someone that you can reach out to, or let him know that, hey, your mom shouldn't be talking to you like that, don't take that personal, that's her own issues because she ain't got no man, or whatever it is that you want to say. Maybe that could have been an opportunity, and maybe if men took more of those opportunities, if somebody would have taken that opportunity for you or for anybody, like, it would be more helpful. I just don't, I'm saying, it's hard to get healing in the place where you got hurt, so if you usually, when a mother is displaying that type of hurt towards her child, that's her own childhood issues, that's how she feels about that man. That's a whole bunch of layers that y'all are never going to get through to get her to be like, hey, you need to respect this man's masculinity and you need to help him be a man. It's like, she's you can already tell by the way she's talking, like, she's far gone from that. So
She's
at what
far
point do
gone.
men, yeah, at what point do men stand up and be men and say like, hey, listen, you're not going to be talking to, not while I'm around, not while I'm around, because I feel like when you start saying stuff like that, like, women will recognize. It's just, I feel like men don't say those types of things anymore. Like, men don't stand up and be like my husband, he would have got up and left. He just wouldn't. He's not going to sit around and listen to somebody talk crazy. He's just not going to do that. He don't care about keeping the peace. He don't care what you think about him. He's not going to sit around and let you talk crazy to people. He would have, I hope that he would have pulled that guy aside and been like, hey, or don't talk to him like that. Stop saying that. Why you keep calling him a dummy? Stop saying that. That's rude. Do you know how damaging that is? To bring that to her attention, to be like, hey, do you know how damaging that is? A lot of women have never been in a situation where they've had a man's correction, right? where a man has never come around and been like, hey, no, this is how we're actually going to do things. So that concept, like until you start to see it displayed, you don't even really know it exists. And when men don't say anything, you're saying that that type of behavior is acceptable. You're saying like it's okay for her to talk that way because no man stood up and said it wasn't. And now he's looking at the only man here. If this really was a problem, the way my mom was talking to me, at least the one man here would stand up and say something, because we expect for good men to stand up and say something. So when all the men sit around and they don't say anything about all the behavior that they don't like, they just complain about it. It's like, well, at what point are you going to say something? At what point do you have a standard and be like, this is what it is, this is what I accept, this is what I don't accept, and be like, hey, to me, that's a very simple, non-confrontational, but at least letting everybody know where you stand on the situation.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't really feel the situation, but masculinity is on attack.